Buenas, and welcome to another installment of Milky and the Bean. As always, your host,
Milky,
and myself, the Bean, and welcome
welcome.
to one of the greatest episodes.
The
Hoping
greatest of all time.
greatest of all time. Yes, as you know, Super Bowl is upon us.
Super Bowl has come to Tampa Bay, and you're wearing the hat of a gentleman who is
Well,
doing something that has never been done before, where he's having a home game for a Super Bowl. First time ever. That's pretty cool.
again. All right, guys. So, again, I'm just going to say this. I am a Patriots fan, diehard Patriots fan, but I am a Brady fan.
He
I
sits
am
on
not.
Brady's lap for sure.
Hell yeah. All the time. I don't care.
You would kiss
Swear.
Brady on the mouth, is what you're saying.
I mean, if he offered, why?
That's how he kisses his kids. Haven't you seen that?
Don't be jealous, okay? So, again, I am a Patriots fan, but I am a Brady fan, all right? And I will tell you something about this. To all the haters out there that Brady's not the GOAT, this should be proving that he is the GOAT. You're telling me he did this. I'm going to pick whatever team. Oh, I want this one. And we're going to go to Super Bowl. To his 10th Super Bowl. Okay?
Well, I mean,
10th.
listen, he is really good. He might be the greatest quarterback of all time, but I don't know if you
Yeah.
call him like the GOAT of all goats or anything like
No,
that.
no, 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 no. That's not what I'm talking about.
He's definitely established goatism. He is
So
goated.
before we go into this, we'll go into a little bit more Super Bowl right now. But as if you could tell, today's episode is revolving
Goat.
around goats. And if you don't know what goat means, because actually some people don't, Milky, go ahead and explain it to everyone.
G.O.A.T. Greatest of all time.
Yes, you'd be surprised on how many people don't know that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going over the goats for all different sports. We're going to also talk about goats from different eras and just go from there.
For sure, yeah. I
Oh.
mean, as far as the goat and goatisms and all that good stuff, we're gonna definitely dive deep into teams, and then I have a challenge for you at the end of this one. Bean, I think we need to like crown a Milky and the Bean goatest of all goats at the very end, like either a team or a player, or once we have divulged into this, we need to figure out who do we just put the crown on and say, okay, he is the goat of all goats, or she is the goat of all goats, and whatever.
All right,
So
I'm cool with that.
let's dive first right off the top. We were talking about football. So who is a goat of yours in football?
So there's two different types of goats. So again, I'm going quarterback, right? Come on, you can't deny me Tom Brady. How many freaking quarterbacks already have 6 rings right now? Worked on his 7th, been to the Super Bowl 10 times, went to a different team, and within his first year, Super Bowl.
Well, the Buccaneers weren't that far off, but okay. So if you're talking strictly quarterback, yeah, he's legit probably the best quarterback of all time, just based on stats and
Okay, but also
record.
too, I've always been a Brady fan, and I've always, considered him the GOAT. Like, he's great, and not just because I'm a Patriots fan, but he's really good. But you know what? Really, like, no joke, just it clicked in my head was Super Bowl 51,
Oh, the comeback.
the comeback,
Yeah.
28-3, dude. Like, that was, come on, not a lot of people can freaking do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, once again, if you go back in time, I mean, the Dan Marinos that never got to experience Super Bowls and stuff like that. I mean, you got to look at like Jim Kelly's of they were really good. They went to the Super Bowl 4 times, never won it, so they weren't goated, you know.
You know, one that gets me all the time. They're like, he's the GOAT, not Tom Brady. I'm a big Joe Montana fan.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
a Joe
I
Montana
feel like
fan, but he's not the GOAT.
well, he was up until Tom Brady. I feel like because everybody was trying to fill those shoes because they tried to make Peyton Manning that too. So,
Okay, but you got to remember. There's era. He was the Tom Brady of that era, but I'm talking about right now of all time.
no, Tom
Tom
Brady
Brady
is
is
for
the
sure
best
the GOAT
quarterback.
of all time for quarterbacks. Yeah, but I mean, now if you're going position by position, because I wasn't prepared to do that, but if we're going
I mean,
position by
just
position,
that's gonna take forever. But just give me
yeah,
the cliff note.
Well, see, I'm a sucker for Barry Sanders, and say what you will. I mean, we've all experienced the Detroit Lions for however long we've been fans, and it doesn't matter what era you pick. The Lions have always been a very struggling team, and without an offensive line, really, Barry Sanders decided he was just gonna bounce around, walk around, run around everybody he could, and carry that team. Like he put that team on his back. So because of that, I feel like he has to be goated. Now he don't have but one playoff victory. His best season, I think, was 9-7, but he was the fastest to get to the numbers he got. He retired after 10 years, whereas Emmitt Smith, it took him 17 years, and he had to do it with the Cardinals. So
Yeah,
I would still say that if you put that man behind the Cowboys line or the Packers line at that time, or even the Niners line at that time,
yeah.
I don't know if anybody would have caught him. Look at Randy Moss. Randy Moss could have set so many records had he been
That's what
on
I was
a
gonna bring up
team.
next.
I mean, look at Calvin Johnson. If Calvin Johnson wasn't on the Lions and he was getting double teamed off the line, like that's how you get goaded. Like if you're
Yeah.
doing things like that, like come on, like look at Bo Jackson though. Have you ever
Oh,
looked up Bo
Jackson.
Jackson? Now, not only was he goated in football, but he got an
Like video
extra.
games.
Well, he got an extra little star next to his name because he was really good at baseball too. He was playing for the Royals. Now, I wouldn't call him a goat in baseball, but I would say he's really damn good. But the same thing like Deion Sanders. You got Deion Sanders who played two sports, and he actually got to play in the World Series. So is he goated for that because of a ring? I mean, I don't think so. I think he was really fast and he was decent at baseball. But once again, his bread and butter was football. So I don't goat
You know what
him for
gets me
baseball.
though? We talk about. I was actually talking to one of my uncles, and it just when you think of the goat, right? You know, it's not just Super Bowls, right? Because a lot of people like again, get me wrong, 10 Super Bowls, wow, the goat, but it's also stats too. You know, what I'm talking about. So, like,
Well, I mean, he's been privy to quite a few different offensive schemes that were very um, I don't want to say advanced, but they were definitely above and beyond. They were kind of revitalizing some of the passing schemes, but they weren't like big plays. They were just dink and dunk, take small bites, get around you, and score. And he was a master at that, dude. Check downs and reading coverages and stuff like that. But he wasn't ever known for like a ton of big plays. Like Tom Brady is not the guy that you want that's gonna have to go 80 yards and throw you a Hail Mary like Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like
see,
that's
the
not
thing
his
about Tom
style.
Brady, he's smart. He knows how to use the players. That was the thing. He knows how to use players perfectly to their advantages. Like again, like Aaron Rodgers is great for those Hail Marys. You got Patrick Mahomes, who in the future could be another GOAT. You
He
know what
could
I'm talking
probably
about?
throw it from end zone to end zone
You
easily,
know,
no
he could
problem.
also, he's a runner. So you got a lot of there's a lot of differences. But for me, again, and I'm not just saying as a Tom Brady fan. I just personally think with football, the GOAT.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so now we were talking about baseball. Are you a baseball fan at all?
You know what? I do watch a little bit of baseball. I'm a D-backs fan. You
Then
know,
you don't know baseball if you're a D-backs fan. I'm just playing.
wow,
I'm just playing. No,
dang. No,
okay,
I
so
mean,
for instance though, like who would you like how far back do you go in baseball? Like
so for me,
who do you
okay.
know?
So again, I'm not going to give you stats and things like that.
No,
I
I
just
know.
think
I
about
know.
names you hear and
Yeah.
people who made a difference. And I mean, like one that always comes to mind. And please tell me if I'm wrong or I'm being cheesy. It was Babe Ruth, right?
Well, he was the initial GOAT. Like,
That's what I'm saying. He
yeah.
was the initial GOAT, as in,
He was
I mean,
granddaddy
there's
GOAT.
you know what? He's the one that started it. He's the one that made that big difference. So it just varies. I mean, there's all kinds of different people for baseball. Who would you think?
I mean, you definitely say Ruth, but like you go with Hank Aaron or you go with Willie Mays. I mean, some of these guys, what they were doing. I mean, if you don't have Aaron and Mays, you don't have Griffey Jr., who I find to be probably at least in the 90s, 2000s, the GOAT in center field. Like, there wasn't a person you would put at center field besides Griffey, and you would wait for that one play that he had to make going up against the wall or he would hit a home run or he would steal a base or I mean, yeah, the Mariners struck gold when they had the kid. But I mean, once again, are you just looking at that? Are you looking at World Series? Because then you got to go, like Nolan Ryan, who was a pitching genius back in the day, the Nolan Ryan Express. And once again, did he win a ton of rings? No, but he was definitely known as a goat, like at least one of the goats of pitching. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
look
yeah.
at it, like, Randy Johnson. Does he have a ton of rings? No, but he was playing on a bunch of good teams and he was getting strikeout numbers that were unheard of and throwing the ball as fast as you could blink. So, and killing doves too. Did you see that one when he had to hit
I remember that.
when the
That
bird hit it? Wow, he was a
insane,
Diamondback at that point.
insane.
But okay, but to me, honestly, like if we're looking at a well-rounded individual that grew the game, that was well known, that like Brady can go across seas and everybody knows Tom Brady. Well, then Derek Jeter to me right now, just because I don't want to take anything away from the older folk, the Hank Aaron's and that kind of stuff of the world. But Derek Jeter was for a long time literally baseball. Like everybody knew who number 2 was.
No, I get you, and I totally get that. You know what I mean? And again, I watch baseball. I'm not a diehard, so I'm not like crazy facts. But those people, Jeter and it just those stand out to me. You know what I mean? But if I really dug into it, I'm sure there's a lot more different because there's different positions. I mean,
Oh yeah. We could go
it
first
varies. So,
baseman, we could
yeah.
go home runs, we could go stolen bases. You got Reggie Jackson, you got, the asterisk with Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire and all those guys. But once again, you're just talking about power hitters. They don't
So
really
let's
make
talk.
plays in the field.
Yeah. So we'll come back to this because we're gonna do something else as well too about goats.
Yeah.
But the next thing is basketball, right?
Yeah, basketball.
Me and you were actually talking about this. So of course, everyone's gonna say the goat of basketball is Michael
MJ.
Jordan,
Yeah,
right?
MJ. And he
Which
has to be. He has to be. Like Kobe is a close second and LeBron is creeping up, but Michael Jordan took the world by storm because he
you
was
know
a
what I'm saying?
basketball player.
He
Like
he, he changed it, and what really changed it was when he played that game against the aliens in Space Jam, bro.
when he saved Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes, he was goaded. At that
Dude,
point, you were officially goaded. If you weren't
dude.
before,
Mm-hmm.
if
I'll
people
actually
weren't
throw.
getting beat up over your shoes already, now you're goaded. The Space
I'll throw
Jams were the most beat up over your shoe.
and I'll throw Bill Murray in there for helping.
Oh, for sure. You got the assist. He goes down 0-1 or 1-0 or whatever. He goaded.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. So we were talking about this earlier, and I was actually talking to my wife about it, and she's like, "Well, what about LeBron?" I said, "What about LeBron?" You know what I mean? It's like he. Don't get me wrong, LeBron is great. Like no joke. He's like it. I'm using Tom Brady as an example, right? How Tom Brady went to another team and he made that team pretty great. LeBron left and what went to another team, went to the Lakers, and he's making them different. You know what I mean? But he's just not there yet for me. That's just my opinion. I'm sorry if you guys are LeBron fans or
Well,
I'm sorry.
there's a certain somebody that may or may not be watching, but Marky, so I'll say that if you're watching this, we've had this argument quite a few different times. Um, Listen, LeBron is the current GOAT. Um, do I find him better than Michael Jordan or Kobe? No. I don't really think he's quite earned that rank just yet. He's gonna have to sell a few more shoes before he gets that rank. But as far as playing longevity at a high level, as many championships and everything he's played in, yeah, I mean he's goated for sure. Like if he quit playing today, he would definitely go down as one of the greatest of all time for sure.
Of course. And I mean, it might change when Space Jam comes out. We'll just wait till that match happens. But
If that flops, it solidifies the fact that he can never be
he's
Michael
not the
Jordan.
GOAT, too.
He's not the
Horrible.
goat. You're the second. But once again, do you just base your goatness off of championships and that kind of stuff, or do we look at
He,
guys like Allen Iverson who used to have to carry his team to playoff victories by himself? You got Magic, you got Kareem, you got Dr. J, you got Shaq. Like
That's
I
what I'm
mean, but
talking about.
Tim Duncan,
It's just not. That's what I'm trying to get at. Maybe a lot of people just think the goat needs championships, but no, it's the stats. It's how they work with their team. I mean, please tell me I'm wrong, but Nash, right?
Steve
He
Nash, yeah.
Steve
He's not
Nash.
the GOAT of
He's not.
point guards,
No,
though.
I'm not saying the GOAT, but
Yeah.
he was a player that stood out, and you know who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it's someone who helped the team out. Now,
for sure.
I'm not labeling him GOAT status, but I'm just using his as an example. Now, going to Shaq, boom, he is one
Bro.
of the greatest.
Oh, could you imagine a 7-foot diesel tank that just clear you out, catch the ball, dunk, and rebound? That's it. That's all I need you for. Like Dennis Rodman. Like he didn't do shit but get the ball and put it back in the hoop or get it back to his other players. And he was ruthless in defense. Like, bet you're not driving the lane on him. Like, period.
So this is a total side note, squirrel moment, but going back to Shaq, just not a great player, but a great person, man. I was actually watching this video the other day, two different videos of no joke. Somebody called and complained about kids playing basketball making too much noise. So the officers went and called Shaq, and Shaq actually went
Oh,
out
he
and
went out and
played with
played
all
with
those
them.
kids.
Yeah, I saw that on the
He
internet.
played with
Yeah.
them with the cops. He was doing good. It was really cool. As in, it's not the money thing, but it was really neat that he told them respect your parents, do this, did that, and they gave all the kids $100.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Then there was another one. I forget where he was. He was in an Apple store, like in another country, and he kept on seeing these kids play with these Macs. And all of a sudden, he told the people in the back, "Hey, can you get 2 Macs for those kids over there?" And those kids were just like, "Wow, you know what? He didn't. He just wanted to. You know what? If someone had the chance to buy me a Mac, I wanted to do it for you." The kids, to be honest, the kids didn't even know who he was, but
Yeah,
that's how
for
cool
real.
of a person he was. He took care of them. So, I when it comes to the GOAT and greatest of all times too, it's just not about sports, but it's just about how they are.
Yeah.
How they represent themselves. I mean, kind of going back to football just for a tiny second, but another person I think that's a GOAT. Not, I mean, he plays really really well, but he does a lot for his community. Was J.J. Watt. I mean, J.J. Watt does so much for his
Well,
community,
but if we're
man.
gonna go that route, then we got to go Larry Fitz. I mean, think about
I
that.
mean,
Like,
and we can keep on going, but I just wanted to give an example, like what Shaq did. A lot of other players are doing that. But I mean, going back to basketball. I'm sorry if there's anything else.
no, I mean, you got to throw those guys in there. Like, who's the goat really? Like, are we gonna build a dream team like they did in the '90s, or are you just gonna go like, okay, who carried basketball? Who did the most for their community? And if we put stats on humanistic qualities and everything else, who is your goat of all basketball goats? And I mean, dude, I still gotta go MJ. Like
I mean,
MJ,
you ask anybody, ask
Michael. Everybody knows
anybody.
he's like Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan, one of the two. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
So, okay, so we talked about that. Another one I really, really like a lot. Now, again, I love this sport. I love it when it's that time, that time of year. But I'm a big soccer fan, right? I love to watch
huh?
soccer, but
Tu
I'm
gente.
I maybe oh dude, my inner Hispanic comes out. I love watching, Mexico play. I like watching international when it's different. The leagues inside it's just a little different, but
Yeah,
I'm a big World Cup fan. You know what I mean?
of
I love
course.
watching
You got
it.
to.
Dude, I have so many jerseys. I just switch on. I could be home by myself, but I just love watching it. But when you think of soccer, I mean, who do you think of? And I'm just throwing names out there. Or you go ahead. What do you think about soccer? And then we'll go from there.
Well, I will tell you that soccer is probably one of my lower ranked sports that I am knowledgeable in, but I definitely consider myself a sports nut. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
some of the names that I'll throw out there is, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, you got Pele from Brazil, you have Ronaldo, you have Ronaldinho. I didn't know that you could have so many different Ronaldinho, Cristiano Ronaldo, but
Lewandowski. But
Maradona was legit one of the first soccer players I remember like paying attention to and seeing in magazines. Because Brazil's always good, but I mean Maradona was and Pele obviously, but Pele
so
I mean
that's how I was gonna go.
was too
Pele, like for
old,
me,
too
I
old.
mean that's way back in the day,
Yeah,
Nico. And I'll
that's
tell
like
you, did you ever watch the documentary movie on him? Really good.
I watched some of it. I never got through all of it just because I felt like
I
they took
really
a lot of liberties with it. I feel like that was way too made for TV type stuff. Like it wasn't that. golden
Yeah.
and
I just
beautiful.
thought it was really good, but I mean, I'm a big Pele fan. I will tell you, I'm a big Cristiano Ronaldo fan.
Mhm.
I mean, dude, again, that's a guy who goes from team to team and just brings that team, boom, back. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
he's definitely doing his thing. And where Messi, he's like Fitzgerald. He never leaves, even though he
Never,
wants to.
you know
They'll
what I'm
never
saying,
get rid
dude?
of him.
I thought he was gonna leave. When was it? I think it was like last time they had the
He's
World
been
Cup, and
trying. They won't.
he missed that penalty kick, man, like horribly. Um, you know. And then there's that year that Mexico. It wasn't a penal, by the way. It wasn't. But well, anyways.
Yeah, well,
But yeah, dude. So I'm a big FIFA fan. But again, with those names and guys, if we're talking about a sport and we don't know a lot about them, and you think you and if you do and you want to shout it out, please put it on the
I don't
messages
care.
below.
Whoever feels like they got a goat, then say the goat. But I mean, let's be real. Like, I don't want you to tell me that Joey Harrington or
If you want to
Chris
nominate the
Paul
big
or somebody like that is the goat. Like, don't do that to me.
if you want to nominate the big green soccer team,
Yeah, exactly.
you know what I'm talking
Like,
about.
yeah,
You have to be.
the
So
goat.
okay. What's next?
You know what? You went with your gente. Let me go with mine. Let's go golf. So
Golf.
how much do you know about golf then? Let's see.
You know what? Golf. I mean, I'm just throwing out names, but you got Tiger, you got Palmer. I mean, I like watching golf. I like playing it, but I'll tell you that is more on your end. So 95% of this, I'm gonna let you talk about.
Well, you're good, man. I mean, I'll keep it brief. For most people, there's not too many golfers that too many people know, but for me, you got early on, it was Walter Hagen, Bobby Jones. Then you keep coming up through the ranks, and there were a lot of guys that were battling for it. And then you got Jack and Arnie. You got Gary Player. You then you start getting into the Shark. You start getting into Tiger finally kind of coming onto the scene, and Phil Mickelson coming onto the scene. But there was a couple of guys that like Chichi Rodriguez and Tom Kite and those guys, and then there's a gentleman by the name of Jim Furyk that I find to be one of the more interesting stories because the man just makes cuts. He doesn't win a ton, but he's actually from U of A. I've met quite a few different people that actually played on the same
Is he
team.
really?
Yeah, oh yeah, he went to the U of
Oh,
A.
I didn't know
I've
that.
actually met quite a few people that have played on the same team as him. So, and once again, I mean, golf is golf. So you have to consider who's grown the game. And I mean, obviously everybody knows already it's Tiger. Like you can't say
I
golf without Tiger Woods. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
hands down.
of
You can
course.
hate him as much as you want. And I've done my fair share of hating all the people out there that have ever heard me rant about the fact that ESPN will show tournaments and it doesn't matter if Tiger's dead last, gonna be cut. They're gonna show clips of his day. And it's like, no, if he sucks, get him out of there. Nobody wants to see shitty golf.
Get out of here.
So, but once again, like the GOAT, it's either him or Arnold Palmer. Like, who else are you going to say? Like, you
I
can't
mean, if
say
you have a drink named after you,
Phil
come
or,
on.
well, yeah. I mean, Golden Bear is still alive and he can say what he wants to say about being the man, but he copied Arnold Palmer, the Golden Bear tees and shit. And no, stop. But okay, let's keep going. Well, let's keep going with the white spectrum. What do you know about stock car racing? Exactly. Did you freeze? So stock car racing. Then I'll make it brief just for all my rednecks out there because I couldn't do it without mentioning stock car racing for my dad. But Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. I mean, these are a bunch of names, but
Jeff
who
Gordon. Hey, I know Jeff Gordon. I mean,
Jeff Gordon? Do you know Jimmy Johnson, number 48? I mean, once again, you got to feel like, okay, who put the sport on the map? And you can say maybe Richard Petty, but everybody knows who the intimidator is. It's Dale Earnhardt. Like, I don't care. He definitely has won a lot of championships and everything else. And were there a lot of other good drivers and teams and stuff? Yeah. Who put the team on his back as far as the sport? That would be Dale Earnhardt. Like, you wouldn't even know about stock car racing without that man. But what else? What other sports do you know? You know hockey?
we'll get there. I got one next. This
Okay,
is
go.
for both our gente. Um, but I want a sport I love is boxing. Okay, now
Boxing.
I personally, this is just me. I'm not a fan of UFC. I mean, it's cool, but I just like boxing. It's I just remember it as a kid. You know what I'm saying? And and people call it. I hate, but people call Mayweather the GOAT. Like I've heard that, and I'm just like I can't take that because I can't consider a person winning with no losses for someone who just runs around the ring. That's all he does.
Well,
You know what I'm
once
saying?
again, it's who grows the sport, who's most well known. I would not consider Floyd Money Mayweather
I
the
don't.
GOAT. Is he goated? Sure. He's one of the greatest defensive boxers I've ever seen.
Okay, so
Um,
check this out. He has a total of 50 fights, 50 wins, 27 KOs, and 0 losses. You know who? Honestly, I mean, we'll talk about somebody else right now. Well, I mean, just an example. You got Muhammad Ali, of course, right? One of the greatest of all times. But like another one that stood out to me when I was a kid was Julio Cesar Chavez.
well, but he always gets labeled with negative connotations.
I
So
mean, look at I just read you Floyd Mayweather's, right? This guy right here, 115 fights, 107 wins, only 6 losses and 2 draws. Like
but what about
honestly, for
Sugar Ray
me,
Robinson? What about Sugar
I mean,
Ray
I
though?
know no, there's all kinds of people, but I'm just saying like other people other than Mayweather. Like people,
What
all
about
they
Mike
think about is
Tyson?
you got Mike Tyson, dude. You got Canelo, right?
Well,
Canelo's one of my
yeah,
favorite boxers right now. You got Pac Man,
Pac-Man. So
Pacquiao.
once again, you have to go like, is it weight class? Are we talking heavyweights? Or are we talking about somebody that put the sport on the map? Because you got
Somebody put
George
the
Foreman. You got George Foreman, dude. Like,
and it's
you
not just
know,
the grills. It's just not the grills.
no, it's the fact that he was a legit champ. And the reason he got to make grills was because he was the champ.
De La Hoya.
De La Hoya. I mean, dude, like we have to throw Money Mayweather in there. You have to throw Floyd in there.
So
You know,
total side note, but I want to talk about my cool mother-in-law. Shout out to you. I always shout out
the
to you, my
swag.
mother-in-law. So this swags. Um, so when I first started dating my wife, well, actually, no, I think I was married within the first year. My mother-in-law at her work, they had like a really cool fundraiser going on, and like like silent auction. And I think we couldn't go because we had a performance or something. Well, anyways, my mother-in-law, she didn't know I was a boxing fan, and she's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, I bid on an item for you, and I got this." And I didn't know if I showed you this or not, but she got me a signed and autographed by both fighters, authenticated, and there's only like 50 of these with the signed T-shirt and everything up the Cesar Chavez and Oscar de la Hoya fight.
Ooh.
And she had no idea that I was a boxing fan. I will tell you, when she gave it to me, I was like shaking. I was like, awesome. So I just want to give a shout out to the greatest mother-in-law. Like, you don't know how big of a deal and how much that means to me because I'm a real boxing fan. And I will tell you, my childhood, a lot went through my childhood and everything. But that is a memory I will never forget was watching that fight as a kid. And it meant so much to me. And when she gave me that, it just like, I don't know how to explain it, dude. One of the greatest gifts of all time I've ever gotten. And we're
Hashtag
talking about
swags
boxing.
love. Hashtag swags love.
Hashtag, hashtag greatest swags in the world. Love you,
So
swags.
it's funny that you're mentioning that because like I will be honest with you. I think some of the things that really influence people into getting into the sport is like big games. For instance, most people know their favorite. You can pretty much tell when people picked up the sport by who their favorite team is,
Yeah.
or favorite player is. Like with boxing, you have those fights. Ali Foreman, De La Hoya, Chavez. Tyson versus anybody because those were always huge. Mayweather versus anybody versus because Sugar Ray fights, there was the list goes on, but everybody stops what they're doing and watches the fight,
Oh,
whether
of
it's
course.
20-second knockout or a 12-round decision, But like I was saying with hockey, like hockey's one of those sports that I feel like you either love it or you hate it. So once again, it's one of my lower rated sports. So
I hockey. I'll get into a little bit. I mean, I'm not that much. I've always wanted to go to a hockey game, but for some reason, I'm always busy. Always busy. But I was in Las Vegas when the Vegas Knights were playing Washington, and I was like, you know what? We're at a bar. Let me sit. And dude, it was so awesome to watch.
it's
And I was
lit.
It
It's
was
like
awesome because
rugby. It's like
people are just
that kind of
beating the
shit.
excuse my language, beating the shit out of each other and
Yeah.
just like, dude, it was awesome. And being around that crowd, it's in Arizona. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, hockey. As far as I know, Tucson, it's not a big thing. I mean, you got the Coyotes, but
If you're into the sport, it's huge. You know what I'm saying? But it's not a vast, um, a well versed area. You know, it's the desert. Like it's hard to keep ice. So like,
I would really like. I've heard these games are amazing, but I've heard the Sun Devils and Wildcats hockey games are pretty awesome.
yeah,
And because you can have booze, we should totally when hopefully if the world comes back to normal and those, we should totally do like a Milky and the Bean,
we don't even have to
meet a
do
skier.
that. Dude, you realize that we have the Tucson Roadrunners, right? Like the Tucson Roadrunners are like a minor league hockey. Dude, they're legit though. Like people keep talking
That's
about
like
them.
saying, bro, let's all go watch the Sugar Skulls.
Let's go. I'm down, dude. It's good football sometimes.
Have you
You never
watched it?
know.
I've watched it.
I
It
watched
cracks
one
me up.
time. Yeah.
It just I don't know.
You can
I would
tell the
really.
NFL from Arena. That's for sure.
uh,
But the point that I'm trying to make though is like, you know, you got Gretzky, you got Howe, you got Lemieux, you got Bobby Orr, you know, so like who when you were growing up, I mean, obviously everybody heard Gretzky, right? But I feel like the person that really put the game on the show that it is, I mean, it would have to be between Gretzky and Lemieux. I mean, Orr really got the game going for the Canadians up there, you know, the Bobby Orr fans, and yeah. But
well, when it comes to hockey, for me, man, it's like I know the Mighty Ducks, and and then I just remember this as a kid how big of a deal it was when the U.S. beat Canada in the
oh yeah,
Olympics. Like that was huge, huge. So I think there's a movie too called The Miracle or something. I've never seen it,
yes, yes, Miracle on
but
Ice.
Miracle on Ice, yes.
But once again, I mean, but okay, so we were talking about some obscure sports, and I guess they're not really obscure, but for the sake of saying it, do you know that video gaming is now considered a legitimate sport with professional athletes?
Of course, if I just say one name right now, if I just say Ninja,
Everybody knows Ninja. Everybody knows Ninja.
Marshmallow,
Marshmallow, yeah, but he's not gaming. Like Ninja is like, okay, he literally is the goat of gaming. Has to be, right?
dude,
All you
it's
kids out
crazy.
there, let me know. Like, who
It's
else do
insane.
you know?
I can't believe that's it's a sport. I mean, I would have loved to do that. I love gaming, to be honest. I love gaming, but it's just crazy how much these people like night and day. That's all they do.
Dude, they
You
got
know,
Madden championships. They got Street Fighter champion, Mortal Kombat championship,
dude.
Halo championship.
I've actually. Have you ever heard of Oh my god! It's why I went to this in Vegas and I can't remember. It's actually why when I went to
Not
go.
Comic Con, but what? I know which one you're
It's
talking
a
about.
video game competition
Yeah,
in Phoenix. It's called Evo. I went to
Evo.
Evo.
Yeah,
And they had different ones, dude. And I went and I played. I competed in Mortal Kombat, and I'm pretty good, man. And I mean, I was out second round. I mean,
yeah,
first
for
round,
sure.
okay. Second round, I was at two because there's people there that I mean, they showed up and they had sponsored shirts on. They had custom microphone. It was insane. I will tell you, that's one of the most craziest, funnest experiences of my life going to compete in Evo. It was at the Mandalay Bay, dude, and it was just insanely huge. Next time I'll put that shirt on so you guys can. It was really neat.
Well, I mean, think
And
of all these shooting games and stuff like that where they have teams of people. Like they're actually like the Arizona or like the Atlanta whatever well, hot shots or whatnots. But
yeah,
yeah, dude, they got all this shit. But now we were talking about squads and everything like that. Like
okay, hold on. I got
what's your
one
goat
more thing.
squad? Oh, you got one more?
Before,
Let's go.
before that, I mean, and there's a lot of other sports, guys. I
You gonna
know
do
there's
bowling?
curling,
Are you gonna do
cricket,
pool?
there's bowling. Bowling. There's dang it,
Who do you
what's
think
his name?
you are? I am.
Roy Munson.
Roy Munson, yes.
I
Rose and his toupee.
mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? We can go Billy. No, I'm joking. I was gonna say Billy Madison, but that's another.
Stop it.
Okay, so I want to talk about. It's hard to say with goats on this one, but I'm going to talk about Olympics. But one person that constantly is
Michael
just, I mean,
Phelps, is that it?
Michael Phelps. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like one of the greatest of all time.
What about Usain Bolt, dude? Usain Bolt's got to be like an
Usain,
Olympic goat.
yes, dude. Usain Bolt, insanely good. Uh,
USA gymnastics, period, hands
dude,
down, like every year.
crazy. You know what? You know what doesn't get a lot of credit, and they deserve the credit, was the U.S. women's soccer team.
Bro, can we talk about the U.S. curling team real quick? Like, why can't they
Bro,
get no love? They beat
all the
Canada. They beat
dad bods,
Canada, son. What happened?
dad
No
bods, bro.
love. The dad bods, bro. They're brushing the hell out of that ice. What do you know?
All right. Well, let's kind of just kind of round it back up, and let's talk about not goats as in a person. Let's talk about generation of goats.
No, let's
So
do squads. I want to do squads real quick
that's
because I
that's
want
what,
to hear
okay. That's what I'm
the
talking
squads. Yeah. Okay. So, like, the 85 Bears is obviously goated because they're the only undefeated team, and it's always a spectacle. Or I'm sorry, not the only undefeated team, but the 85 Bears is considered like goats, because they're great. You got the 72 Dolphins that goated, right? Undefeated team, goated. Um, and I believe they went all the way through the championship. Only team that's ever done it. Then you got the 78 Steeler fan. Everybody recognizes them as a goated team. You got your Patriots that
about.
are
I'm gonna go the 2000s.
the whole 2000s, just like the dynasty. I
The
see.
dynasty. You know what
Well,
I
then if
mean?
we're going to do that, then what about the Yankees, bro? We got to go like the 27, 36, 84, 1920s, fucking 92s, and the 80, fucking, geez, there's so many Yankee teams.
I mean, then what are we going to talk about? The Bulls. What was
The
that? The
Bulls, but
90s?
no, but like, yeah, but that was like 95. I feel like the main team was like between 92 and 95. Like, that's when you look at the Bulls and go, yeah. It's like, but like, then you look at the Lakers and it's like, okay, at what point do you cut it off? Because the Lakers have been good for generations.
Yeah.
So, and then you get like, you're talking Olympics, you get like Dream Team, like, okay, we've literally taken the best of the best right now.
I mean,
And
we got
we
the
have made,
greatest Olympic team right now, women's Olympics.
well, yeah, I mean, definitely have,
Dude, I mean, there's no questions. Like,
yeah, I
they're
mean,
just freaking awesome, dude. They've killed it. How many times did they win gold? I mean, it was like 3 years in a row already.
well, but they're also playing against countries that haven't quite established a women's equal participation type thing too. Like,
Yeah. I'm just saying they kill it. They kill it. You know what I mean?
they do, but I feel like once again, like it's like the same thing like WNBA. Like there's always the same 8 teams that are always in it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't really compare it. I mean, yeah, they're goats. Obviously, they're good at what they do. They're great at sports and everything. The gymnastics and Olympic teams. Like you can't say anything about the soccer teams, that kind of stuff. But can we talk about Chinese ping pong real quick though?
Hold on. Okay, I got I got one too. I got one. I don't know why. I mean, okay, we got to talk about this. I'm sorry. Go ping pong first because mine's probably gonna be a lot
No,
cooler. Go ahead.
just Chinese teams. I don't give a shit where it is. If it's an Asian born country and it's ping pong, like they're gonna win. Sorry, it's like a Canadian or like a Norwegian area in curling or any other ice sport for that matter. Like it's a done deal. Like nobody from Arizona is gonna win curling. Like shut up.
Okay, I got one. I got one. This is a sport. We're gonna go wrestling, and I'm
Like
gonna
what
talk
kind of
about.
wrestling?
Woo!
Oh, Rick. Oh, we're going WWE,
I'm talking
WWF.
WWE/WWF. I'm talking about some of the greatest of all times. Ric Flair. You got Stone Cold Steve Austin. You got Mother effing Dwayne The Rock Johnson. You got one of the greatest ones of all time who just currently retired. I don't watch a lot of wrestling anymore. I used to watch a lot more as a kid, but this person always stood out was The Undertaker. Yes. Yes.
But what about
Yes. Oh, Hulk
Hulk? The
Hogan?
Hulk
Yes.
Hogan,
Yes.
Hulkamania,
Or what about oh yeah.
brother. Yeah, brother. Listen,
Yes.
from the Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah.
Mm. It feels like he always just had to drop a deuce. Um Mick Foley,
Mankind for
Taco.
sure.
Oh my God,
What about
Kane.
what about the Big Show? This dude's an actor
Yes.
now, like
No, what
everybody
about
else.
D-Generation X?
Oh my
Yes.
god.
Dude, I could keep on going.
Going forever. Okay, so now we were talking about literally, players and teams and stuff that set the sport up, So then who's the goatest of all goats? It can be a team, it can be a player, just
I
goatest of everything. Like who do we put the crown on?
It's kind of hard to say, and I'm honestly giving you two. I can't narrow it down. I'm giving you two, which
Okay.
is going to be, and again, I keep on leaning back to this, which is Tom Brady and Michael Jordan.
But so just players. We're not talking about teams then.
I'm
We're just
just
talking
teams.
players.
It's just kind of hard to say. I mean, I don't. That's gonna get into it. You can get into that if you want, but I'm just talking about players. When you think of the GOAT, when you say the GOAT of sports, what comes to mind? For me, it is Tom Brady and Michael Jordan, hands down.
Okay. Got you. So, I mean, in the interest of that, I mean, I think I'll go a player and a team, and obviously Michael Jordan's goated. Um, and did he create super, super attention for basketball at that time? Yeah, he did. But I feel like a player that deserves something and that has reinvigorated a city, a sport, a position, Derek Jeter definitely deserves that. I mean, you can say what you want. I feel like you could say Kobe too, but to be diverse, I think I want to go with Derek Jeter because, yeah, New York is number two. All that good stuff. He was there through 9/11, all sorts of different things. Just if you don't know about Derek Jeter, look him up, and then you argue with me about Michael Jordan and everybody else. But if we want to talk about squads, I think no team did more for their sport at that time period than the Bulls of the '90s. Period.
Yeah,
Hands down.
I was gonna
You
say the
have
same thing.
to you have to throw that out there because, like, I mean, the Patriots maybe, but football was still already big. You can't say really any football team, and it's hard to say a baseball team because baseball's been around for forever too. So you have to go with the '90s Bulls. I mean, that's just where you got to go with it, or the
I
Dream
like
Team.
it. I like it.
But
I like it.
in interest of that, I think it's time for the frijole of the day.
Yes. Before we go to the quote of the day, we're just we're getting there. I don't want to make this really really long, but going back to Super Bowl real quick, I just want to ask who are you going for?
All right. Well, then if you're gonna do that, then we're gonna have to toss some spilled milk in here. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, dude, I am not a fan of the fact that I have to choose between Andy Reid and Tom Brady. I don't want to root for Tom Brady, but the fact that he's goated, and I hope that if he wins, he'll just run off into the sunset.
Yeah.
But I love Andy Reid. It's not about the Chiefs for me; it's about Andy Reid. I really want to see the Chiefs win, but
Mhm.
I think the greater good will be let Tom Brady win, so he'll fucking retire already and just be done.
I'm going
Um,
Tom Brady, and
of course you
hey,
are. Of course you are.
I mean
It's an
that's just me.
unfortunate.
I that's just me. You know what I mean? I mean Tom Brady. You never know when he can retire, and it'd be so cool for him to retire with the Super Bowl.
Just
You know what I'm
be
talking about?
done. Like, just go
You know what's
away.
funny? I saw this
I'm
thing.
so
I saw
tired of you.
I saw this meme the other day. It said, "Okay, I know we asked for the world to go back to normal, but we didn't. I don't want it going back to normal where Tom Brady's in another Super Bowl."
I don't want that normal. All right.
Yeah,
I want.
so, but anyways, let us know what you're gonna who you're going for in the Super Bowl. Put it in the comments below. We'll do a poll maybe on Facebook or something like that. But señores, it is the frijole of the day.
Frijole of the day.
The frijole of the day. Okay, it's actually two. I'm gonna give you two. Do you want the joke or the fact first?
Let's go fact.
Let's let's go to the
Fun
fact.
fact. Fun fact.
Did you fun fact? You watched the movie The Joker, right, with Joaquin Phoenix?
Of course. I watched it with you actually.
Oh, that's right, that's right. Do you know in order to mentally prep to get there, he had to work retail for 6 weeks doing sales? Sorry,
That's
I'm
so
a old
random.
sales guy. The random
Okay.
one. That was the one. Okay. Hey, how do you get your computer drunk?
I don't know.
Screenshots.
Screenshots. This
Oh
guy.
man. All right, guys. Well, hey,
What
man, I can't wait. This is going to be airing on Super Bowl Sunday, so hope you guys watched this before. Um,
commercials, man? We might have to make a special of commercials real quick.
ooh, yes,
We might
commercials.
have to
Yeah,
do a special little pop up.
yeah. And if there's anything, guys, if there's an episode you guys want us to do, if there's something specific, let us know in the comments below. Please make sure to like, comment. Please subscribe, guys. You know what? We hit our goal of 100. I like to go more. If we can go 200 now, I know. I just keep it going, guys. I love what we're doing here. But yes, guys. But so, anyways, I just want to say we appreciate you guys. We love you
Love you
guys.
guys. And
And
as
like
always,
always, bye.
bye.